So, how we doing, family? It's your boy, Yo! And this is another episode of YoHoops. I go through every NBA game every day. Today's Tuesday, March 10th. We have an 11-game NBA card. I'm going to walk you through my thoughts and let you know which sides I like, so please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know your favorite game in the comment section below. Without further ado, let me get into today's games. Recap yesterday. Not the worst outcome overall, but I did go 2-3 on the 5-game card. We started out hot with the Cavs and Jokic, but all three underdogs won in the late games. Honestly, I should have been on at least one. That's on me, but we're still profiting on the month, now 36-29 in March. We've got a big card today, 11 games. Let's knock it out the park and try and go for the sweep. In our first matchup of the evening, we have the Memphis Grizzlies in Philadelphia taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. Sixers are minus 160 on the money line, and the total is 228.5. Both teams come into this one on the second leg of back-to-backs. The Grizzlies fly in from Brooklyn, while the Sixers fly home from Cleveland. Both got their asses kicked last night, but I would say the situation is worse for Philly, considering they're still without their three best players. They're already a star-dependent team, so with Maxey, VJ, and Embiid all rolled out, I don't see them keeping up with the Grizzlies' scrappy second unit. Philly's actually played their best basketball on the road. At home, they're just 14-19 against the spread. I expect them to lose this game outright. I'm taking the Grizzlies on the money line as my first selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Detroit Pistons in Brooklyn taking on the Brooklyn Nets. Pistons are minus 1,400 on the money line, and the total is 218.5. The Nets come into this one on the second leg of a back-to-back, but no travel as they remain at home. To my surprise, they got the dominant win last night, so they're now on a 2-game win streak after just beating these Pistons on Saturday. They went into that game as 13-point underdogs and won it outright. I don't know if they can win this one, but 16 points feels like way too many. Yeah, Cade is back in the lineup, but MPJ has also been upgraded to questionable after sitting out last night for rest. The Pistons will definitely be looking for revenge, so I'm not rushing to the window to fade them, but after seeing the meltdown on Saturday, I can't lay this big of a number. I'm taking the Nets plus a 15.5 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Washington Wizards in Miami taking on Miami Heat. Heat are minus 1,100 on the money line, and the total is 242.5. I like what I'm seeing from Trae Young and the Wizards in spurts, but I can't overlook the fact that they just lost to the Pelicans by 20 points. Miami's won their last 5 games in a row by margin against tougher competition. Even though this is a big number, I think they easily get the cover. Norman Powell is still ruled out, but that's been the case through this entire win streak. The Wizards are really testing rotations and seeing who fits with Trae. I don't even think they're necessarily focused on winning this game. I'm taking the Heat laying the 15.5 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Dallas Mavericks in Atlanta taking on Atlanta Hawks. Hawks are minus 420 on the money line, and the total is 241. The Mavs actually have a lot of their guys back in the lineup tonight. Cooper Flagg, Brandon Williams, and Daniel Gafford are all playing. I can still see the Hawks getting a dominant win, but personally, I'm looking at their team total. We cashed with the over in that last game against the Sixers, but tonight, I think they set the line too high at 125. They would have to score 61 points in every quarter, and that could still leave us at a 124 total. The Mavs do have one of the weaker defenses in the league, but they get 2 or 3 defenders back in the lineup tonight. I'm taking the Hawks team total under 125 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Toronto Raptors in Houston taking on the Houston Rockets. Rockets are minus 210 on the money line, and the total is 217.5. In most spots, I feel like the Rockets are overrated, but this is a fair number, and I like the fact that they're at home. They come into this one at full strength, so it's really just a matter of if they show up. The last time we saw these two teams play, the Rockets dominated 139-121, and that game was in Toronto. I should mention, the Rockets are the worst home team in the league with a record of 11-18 against the spread, but we've seen them playing banged up, so tonight, I'm counting on guys like Tari Eason and Sengun to step up. I'm taking the Rockets laying the 5 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Phoenix Suns in Milwaukee taking on Milwaukee Bucks. Suns are minus 120 on the money line, and the total is 218. For me, this is going to be a fun game to watch. The Suns have found a way to make it happen without Dillon Brooks and Mark Williams, but Giannis is back in the lineup, and he isn't giving up an easy win in Milwaukee. I really can see it going either way in terms of a side, so personally, I'm isolating this one to a prop. I'm taking Giannis Antetokounmpo to go over 25.5 points. He is coming back from injury, so we should see 26 minutes at most, but considering the Suns are lacking in size with Mark Williams out, I think Giannis can go over this line in the first half. He's been getting up about 15 shots a game in his first 3 games back, and he averages 63% from the field. I'ma lock it in as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Boston Celtics in San Antonio taking on San Antonio Spurs. Spurs are minus 150 on the money line, and the total is 222.5. Another really good game. This could potentially be a preview of this year's NBA Finals. Both teams are currently in second place, so this will be a good test to see where they stand at this point in the season. Jason Tatum is back in the lineup for Boston, but I still don't know if they have enough size to deal with Wemby. The guy's literally a sicko. He was out there crying tears of joy after beating the Clippers. We've seen the Spurs take these regular season matchups personally, and let's not forget, they've won 15 of their last 16 games. I have to take the Spurs laying the 3.5 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Chicago Bulls in Golden State taking on Golden State Warriors. Warriors are minus 260 on the money line, and the total is 227. The Warriors come into this one on the second leg of a back-to-back, flying from Utah back home to SF. They lost the game outright last night against the Jazz, and that's now their 4th loss in their last 5 games. Both teams come into this one banged up, but a lot of the Bulls players are listed as questionable. In fact, Jalen Smith, Buzelis, and Josh Giddey are all listed as probable. I think a lot of the Bulls players end up playing, and they get the sneaky win in SF. I'm taking the Bulls plus the 6 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Charlotte Hornets in Portland taking on Portland Trailblazers. Hornets are minus 150 on the money line, and the total is 227.5. Obviously, I've been impressed by the way the Hornets are turning their season around, but when I look at both of these rosters, I'd say Portland has the more consistent talent on the floor. I trust Knuppel, but I'm not surprised when guys like LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller go 2 for 12 from the field. I didn't love that 4th quarter meltdown on Sunday against the Suns. Considering Danny Avdija is playing tonight, I'd have to lean towards Portland. I know what I'm going to get from guys like Drew Holiday and Jeremy Grant. Then on the glass, Donovan Clingan should be able to feast over Diabate. I'm taking the Blazers on the money line as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Indiana Pacers in Sacramento taking on Sacramento Kings. Kings are minus 150 on the money line, and the total is 236.5. The injury situation for the Pacers doesn't get any better tonight. Siakam, Nembhard, and McConnell are all ruled out. I still don't have a ton of confidence betting with the Kings, but they got us the win over the Bulls in their last game, and this is probably one of their easiest matchups of the season. I trust Westbrook to get me a win in a spot like this. I'm taking the Kings laying the 3 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves in LA taking on Los Angeles Lakers. Wolves are minus 145 on the money line, and the total is 233.5. I gotta give the Lakers credit. They're now 18-14 against the spread at home. They've won their last 4 in a row in crypto, so I'm definitely curious to see how they fare against a top team like the Wolves. We know the Lakers don't have depth past their big 3, so I'm leaning to the Wolves in terms of a side, but rather than taking a side, I'm looking at a prop. I like Anthony Edwards to go over 29.5 points, so definitely take a look at that, but I'm taking Luka Doncic to go over 31.5. The reason the Lakers have been winning games despite not having depth is the fact that they have the best scorer in the league. This guy's averaging 32.5. The only way the Lakers even compete is if Luka shows up in a big way. In crypto, I think he's more than capable. Lock it in. And that's going to conclude today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I'm now 36-29 on every game played in March. Let's get right back in that win column and start building some positive momentum tonight. I appreciate all the support so much. I do this every day for free, so please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It's your boy, Yo! And until the next one, I'ma catch y'all. Peace.